I recently received a call from a gentleman who had an aging mother that was in a nursing home care facility. She passed away in 2025. She was a recipient of Medicaid long-term care who was paying for most of her room and board, and her Social Security was paying for the rest. However, to his surprise, after she passed, 6 months later, he received a bill from the nursing home facility, billing him for the last 2 months of his mother's stay. Again, she was a Medicaid long-term care recipient, and Medicaid long-term care was supposed to be paying for her room and board. So apparently there was a lapse in billing, and the nursing home facility decided to foot him with the bill. So he called me to see what to do. And there's many Americans out there that may experience this. So I want to give you an action plan of what to do, because nursing homes across the country are deciding to send bills to surviving heirs in the hopes that they will pay the nursing home rather than going after Medicaid. And there's some action items that I want you to be aware of. So if you've received a bill from a nursing home after a family member has passed away, the first thing to understand is whether you actually have a legal obligation to pay it. You are not obligated automatically or responsible for a parent or relative's nursing home debt. Adult children do not inherit their parents' debt simply by virtue of being their child. The debt belongs to the resident. It's a private contractual obligation between the resident and the facility. It's almost as if it's a landlord-tenant relationship. That's the way you want to think about it. And so when the resident passes away, the debt does not transfer to family members automatically. Just like, as I mentioned, a nurse landlord-tenant relationship. If a tenant passes away, the family is not responsible for paying the remaining obligations of that lease agreement. The only exception is if there is a guarantor relationship. If you, as the child of the family member, signed a financial guarantor on admission of that family member into the paperwork, into the nursing home. So you have had to have signed this paperwork ahead of time. So review whatever documents you signed carefully. This is an important legal distinction between signing as a responsible party, which handles administrative matters like communicating with the facility, and signing as a financial guarantor. Just because you're a power of attorney or your healthcare proxy, that does not mean you're a guarantor. Those are completely distinct legal realities. So I want you also to be aware of that. Also, federal law under the Nursing Home Reform Act prohibits facilities from requiring a third-party guarantor as a condition of admission. So if you were pressured into signing as a guarantor, that may itself be worth examining with an attorney. Now, in terms of the nursing home's legitimate claim, their proper legal remedy is to file as a creditor against the deceased resident's estate through probate court. That is the procedural requirement for claims on an estate. That is the only correct legal channel. They file their claim with the probate court. The estate pays the legitimate creditors according to legal priority. If the estate has insufficient assets, there may simply be nothing left for the nursing home to collect. They do not get to skip probate and go around and bill family members directly. That is not how the law works. They must go through the probate channel. Now, here's another interesting caveat. If there is a trust in place and the person who passed away put all of his or her property into the trust, including their cash, their real estate, retirement accounts, all sorts of assets already are placed into the trust, those assets are no longer considered part of the estate once that person passes away. So there's nothing to be probated. Again, probate is for the court to determine legitimate heirs for assets that are probatable. Once an asset is placed into a trust, it's not going to be placed or have to go through probate, and it transfers to the beneficiaries automatically. So if your family had a properly created revocable or irrevocable trust, their assets pass directly to the beneficiaries through that trust, not going through probate. So the nursing home's creditor claims, it's sort of irrelevant. They can't bring a claim in probate because there is nothing to probate. The nursing home although having a legitimate claim, has no practical avenue for collecting against those trust assets because the trust assets belong to the trust and they belong to the beneficiaries once that person passes away and it transfers to the beneficiary. So a well-structured estate plan and a fully funded, properly funded trust can leave a nursing home with a claim they cannot practically collect on. This is one of the most important reasons to have an estate plan in place before a nursing home stay becomes necessary, not after. So why do nursing homes bill family members directly? Because most people don't know that they're not responsible for the debt of their parents. Most people receive the bill, they panic, and they think they have to pay it. It works. Grieving family members are under stress, they're despondent, and they frequently pay bills that they don't legally owe simply to make the call stop. And nursing homes know this. It's the path of least resistance rather than going through Medicaid to make sure Medicaid reimburses them because Medicaid reimbursement can take months to receive. So simply sending a collection letter to a family member costs them nothing and frequently results in payment from people who had no legal obligation whatsoever. So family members, grieving family members to boot, are the lowest hanging fruits. And again, these are private creditors and people simply don't know that they have no obligation to pay them. So what do you do if you receive one of these bills? You do not ignore it automatically and you don't pay it automatically either. You want to review the admission paperwork and determine whether you actually signed as a guarantor. And if you didn't sign as a financial guarantor, you're not personally liable. They cannot go after your credit. They can't place a lien on your home. They cannot garnish your wages and all of those scary things that most people worry about. You can simply respond in writing saying that you're not a guarantor of the resident's debt and that any legitimate claim should be directed to the estate through the appropriate probate proceedings. If there is any active estate, notify the executor or the administrator that the nursing home has made a claim. The executor handles creditor claims, but again, just because the claim exists doesn't mean the executor is obligated to pay it. The nursing home still has to submit the claim through probate, through the formal procedure before an executor actually has to acknowledge it. So if you want to know more how to handle preparing an estate plan, or if you're wondering about your aging parents, I provided a guide in my book, Chaos to Clarity, which walks you through all the steps and things that you need to know regarding estate planning, such as whether a will is enough, when it is not enough, how to pick the appropriate trust for you and your family, because trusts are not one size fits all. Depending on the needs of your family, there's different trust vehicles that you want to think about. Also, how to prepare an estate plan if you have small children, picking guardians for them throughout your estate plan. In the event, God forbid, something tragic happens to you, you want caretakers in place in the immediate tragedy as well and long term, and other things that provide guidance to families so they're not in the dark when they lose a loved one and they're not taken advantage of because of these systems that are in place. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments section and I will link the book to Chaos to Clarity that is available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. It's pretty much available, but if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments section and I will see you next time.